Welcome back to another episode of the Vision Lab podcast in partnership with Nexum Creative. I'm your host, Ryan Caffey, alongside my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. Folks, we've got an absolute special episode for you guys today. I want to say happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. What an incredible opportunity. You guys get a chance to meet the ladies behind really the birth of the Vision Lab podcast from its genesis point, right? Mo, who do we have on the show today?
Cuff, I would like to introduce everybody to my mom. Please welcome the beautiful, the one and only Sharon Mosley to the show.
Thank you.
I would like to take this time to introduce everyone to my mother, Dr. Deborah Caffey. Mom, welcome to the show.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And we also have a special visitor guest host in the building tonight. No stranger to the podcast forum, host of Uninhibit Her, part of the Vision Lab Network, my wife, my beautiful, talented wife, Miss Heather Dior Caffey.
Hello, I have a little one.
What up?
We wanted to do this. This is a family edition of the Vision Lab podcast. Certainly excited that everybody had, carved out some time to join us. And so before we get started, we got a couple of cleaning duties to take care of.
Oh, absolutely, Cuff. We want to go ahead and say thank you again to all of our sponsors. Obviously, Mr. Robert Garcia and the family of Farmers Insurance in Lucas, Texas. Edwina and the entire family at Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge in Duncanville, Texas. I believe the address there is 215 West Camp Wisdom Road. And the entire crew, the good guys as we call them, of Definition Cigars. For anybody looking to cop a great stick here in DFW, make sure you get to definitioncigars.com, or they are on Instagram at Definition Cigars, or you can literally get to just about all of your local cigar houses and look for a stick with a blue, yellow, or a wine colored ribbon on it. It's by Definition Cigars.
Absolutely. Before we get started, we want to pay homage and respect to a lost member. Very tragic incident that happened back on February 23rd. So we want to make sure that we give our respects to Ahmaud Arbery. And so, on behalf of the Vision Lab podcast, we extend our condolences. This is obviously a tough time. And so for the next 23 seconds, we just want to take a moment here to pause on behalf of Ahmaud. So we'll start the countdown here now. Okay, thank y'all. So again, that was, for Ahmaud, again, rest in peace. We are terribly sorry that this even had to happen. As a mother, we want to kick this off to you guys. First I want to ask, as a mom, and this is open to both of y'all, what does it look like as a mother of a young Black male that has to deal with some of the challenges nowadays that, may not have been as widely notarized or public? And how do you go about navigating motherhood to a young Black male?
Well, let me start off by saying, again, I also share in the condolences, the loss of Ahmaud, but certainly the loss of another Black male. It is just so heart-wrenching as a mom. And I know, Ryan, that having two sons myself, I was very strategic and very intentional in saying to each one of you as you were growing up, no matter what happens, come home safely. If it means putting your hands up, putting your hands behind your back, I want you to come home. And so those were the things that I had to do. Unfortunately, we live in a society then as well as now where we have to prepare our children for things that they shouldn't be needing to prepare for, to come live to see another day. That was my motto.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I have two sons. I think the world of them. And being a former police officer, I understand the risk, and my heart is heavy. Each time, you turn on the news or you hear about another young black male is lost for no reason, and keeps me, it keeps me praying on my knees to the good Lord. Just cover men, period, black men, period, and cover my son. Because see, nobody knows what they mean to you or what they mean to me. They're decent, they're loving, they're kind, they're everything that we wanted them to be when we brought them into this world. And it sets you back each time you view that, and to have your heart damaged in such a way, there's no reason for this to keep happening. And I just continue to ask the Lord to cover our children out here in this world.
I would echo, and just one final thing that I'd like to say along with that. Harriet Tubman, the mother of the Underground Railroad, talked about, and I'm going to paraphrase this poem that said, "Ain't I woman?" Well, in this day and age, ain't we human? I mean, doesn't that count for something? And it just, it breaks my heart that as another human being, we are so free will to kill somebody. Life does matter, and Black lives do matter, and all lives matter. So aren't we human? That is my question to everybody. Do we deserve this? No, we don't.
Well said. Well said. Thank the good Lord that Mo and I have obviously made it beyond that, so to speak. How different is it raising a child born in the 80s and dealing with those circumstances versus nowadays and what we're dealing with, in the 2020s?
Well, I know Sharon's on the channel as well. I think more importantly, the veil has completely been lifted. We know the veil was there, but it's been lifted, and it's difficult. 21 years ago, and I happened to look back over when you played football, Ryan, I spent the last season writing letters to you, paper and, well, typing, but letters to you.
Oh yeah,
And
I
I
remember.
call them lessons by the gridiron. There's some meaningfulness to what you do on the football field and athletics, but lessons in life that I was trying to impart to you. But in the 80s and the 90s, we knew that there were enemies out there. There was racism, there was discrimination, but the veil has completely been lifted. And so we have to be more intentional again in letting our kids know a lot earlier than when they become 16, 17, almost ready to be the adult. Because every day, when I look at kindergarten children, particularly males that are treated very differently in the educational system. So I think we have to love them. And as we love them, we need to nurture them and teach them that there's something else out there that is, unfortunately, we have to teach them early and teach them well.
There's never not a time where you cannot constantly stress to them the importance of their lives. And as you were saying, the veil has been lifted, it's been rolled up, it's been put up. There's no more covering. Everything is wide open. For some reason, people think that they have a right to do what they do. And as a mother, as a parent, Ryan knows that I'm constantly like, okay, these are the things that I have asked of you, to be safe, to be careful. Whatever you do not try to handle the situation at that moment. Your main goal is for you to come home to me. To me. We'll worry about what happened then later. But right now, I just want you to come home. And my other son, Marcus, is in LA, and he's like 3,000 miles away. And so that in itself it just keeps me like in constant contact with him and hanging on to the fact that I have given both of them and their dad, given them the best of us. And we just, all you can do is pray at this point and go from there.
Mother Mosley, I've got a question for you. As a former officer of the law and as a Black mother of two Black boys, how do you navigate the balance of being a mother and your job, right? And dealing with that on the streets and the pressures of hearing that.
My very first goal is always to be a mother. Even that never leaves me, that never left me. And when I was dealing with Black men on the street, little boys, men in general, you have to realize that somebody gave birth to them. Somebody brought them into the world. Maybe they may not have had the best upbringing, but they're human beings. And if you treat people with the utmost kindness, 98.9% of the time, you get that back. And you don't always have to rise to the level of the occasion at the time. If it's out of hand, if it's chaotic, quietness, as my mother used to say all the time, just get quiet. And you watch everybody around you get quiet. And so that's how I handled that job for 37 years. My main goal was to treat people like I wanted to be treated. You respect people and you get respect back. And it's especially true when you're dealing with men. You respect them, they respect you, and you get it in return.
Love it. I love it. So as we transition to the part of this particular episode, Cuff, I will ask you, and then obviously I'm sure you will return it back to me. What does your mom mean to you?
It's a great question. Strength. Well, let me back up. Let me say faith first and foremost. I think that she's imparted the necessary need to have God first in your life amongst everything. Having a personal relationship with Christ, walking with Christ. She exemplifies that on a daily basis. I would say that my mom is strong. There's so many different lessons that as I think about this on how she exemplifies her strength on a daily basis. From being the matriarch at this point of our family to making sure that all three of her kids are, taken care of, educated, articulate, well-spoken. And I think part of her job that she took very seriously was to make sure, like she mentioned before, that we all come home at night, right? We have two boys and a girl. And so, strength will be a big thing. I think that my mom has really exemplified and displayed to me throughout her years the ability to communicate effectively and touch people in a way that is on a personal level where, it's me and you and we're having this conversation. So she pours into you. There's a number of things. And so I really want to take this opportunity this Mother's Day weekend and just tell her how much I appreciate her, how much I love her. We're talking about a woman that would uh, would work from, you know, the 9 to 5 shift or whatever at her day job, and then hop on the road for 10 hours just to go see me play in Nashville. You know, and that to me embodies what a mother is, right? Whether I was hurt, whether I was starting, whether I wasn't playing, whatever the situation was, she was there. And I would say present, being present at all times. There was a pivotal moment in my life that, and Mom, you may remember this, when it was my last high school football game. I'm not going to go into the details of that game, um, but when my career had come to an end for high school, it was an emotional moment. And I can just remember that it wasn't, and no disrespect to my father, you know, he was there for sure, but I ran to my mom's arms, you know, as a son, as a young boy, a young man, whatever, like knowing that your mom is there. Um, and that was an iconic moment in my life that I will never ever forget. She talked about, you know, writing the letters. I mean, the thoughtfulness behind. I mean, you think about it nowadays. I mean, we have the internet and we write emails and type things out, but she hand wrote letters every single game, right, to communicate specific messages to me. So, you know, there's so many things. I mean, the list is, it's a laundry list, but I just want to say thank you, Dr. Deb, for everything that you've done. You know, I, I don't even know the words to say. Obviously, I love you, and I'm very grateful that, you know, I'm your son and that you're my mom. And so it's just been, you mean a lot to me. You mean a lot to this family, and we all are very, very grateful for you.
Just chime in right quick. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, son. I actually have that letter, letter number 10,
Yeah.
and it was a difficult season if you know anything about the playoffs and not making it and that kind of thing. But I do recall that moment. We were all very sad and we were all in tears. It was the end of a season, and for us, it was the beginning of letting go of our firstborn son, our firstborn child. And it is different in the dynamics of the family. But one of the things that I remembered in that last letter is at the end of the season, at the end of your career in high school, I said to you, well done. And, you know, I really appreciate you bringing in the fact, if nothing else was said about me, I want to be known as someone who loves the Lord and has a deep faith in Him, because that's who our source and our help and strength comes from. But I wanted you to know at the end of the day, well done is what you want to hear said. So you stay in it, stay in the game, if you will, be persistent, persevere, and do well. So thank you for saying that, Ryan. Love you.
Love you too. Mo, I'm gonna kick it back over to you. I mean, what does Mother Mosley mean to you, Mo?
Everything. Like everyone just says that, but it's literally everything. She is now the matriarch of our family. I told her when my grandmother passed away a few years ago that she is in charge now. I think she's done a great job in the aftermath of all that. But in regards to myself and my brother, she has been everything and then some. Um, whether it's from an organizational standpoint, whether it's from you use the word persistent, like, you know, she was one from jump. If you want something done, then you're going to have to go work for it. Quitting is not necessarily an option. That doesn't really exist in our house. Like, find a way. Uh, we believe in the good Lord 100%. It's, you know, Sunday mornings we were getting up, we're going to church. Like, it's not really we're not having a discussion about it. Like, you know, when the church music comes on and, you know, you start hearing stuff moving around the house, like, it's time to get up and go on to church. Ultimately, he is in control. We are merely just along for the ride. And we were very cognizant from a young age of where it all starts and ends. She has been there for me through everything, ups, downs, good, bad, you know, traumatic moments in life, the best moments in life. She has been there. She has never folded on me. She has been my number one fan throughout everything. I would not be where I am without her. And like you said, this is no disrespect to my dad either, because losing him was traumatic. But she has been there for my brother and myself through everything. She's just been a rock. That's probably the best word to use. She's been a rock through all of this. I mean, I'm 36 now, and there are things that I do now because I heard them when I was a little boy, and they've come to be true. My dad used to say, just keep on living. And to this point, there are things that she used to say when we were little kids that have come to be true now, and I can't express the amount of appreciation that I have for her at this point in life for the lessons that she instilled in both my brother and myself. So, Mom, I love you. Thank you so much. You are beyond appreciated. You are beyond appreciated.
How do you respond to that other than I love you from the bottom of my feet to the top of my head? And I will always, always be your and Marcus' number one fan. Nobody can ever outbeat me when it comes to cheerleading for you or Mark. Love you dearly.
So before we all get too emotional,
yeah.
Let me liven it up for a quick second. And this is open to both of you moms. What has been your greatest rewards as moms?
Sharon, you want to go first?
Just
Okay.
bringing you home for the first time, realizing that I am truly responsible for you and Marcus, and just watching you all just grow and achieve the things that you all set out for yourselves, just watching you be what you always wanted to be, just watching you become men, strong, capable, kind, as your grandmother would say, just decent men. Just watching that occur before my eyes, seeing you become a father, seeing you with a wife. Now you have your daughter. And it's amazing to look and see what has happened in 36 years. When you all are little, all we care about is just trying to keep you safe and keep you from, hurting yourself, and making sure you eat right, and making sure you got your homework and all those things. And now we have been able to just let you just be. And it's amazing to sit back and watch you all make these steps in your life that are good steps, good decisions, good steps. And I smile every time I look at you, whether you realize it or not. I smile when I look at you and I think, oh my God, these are my sons. I thank you, Lord, for giving them to me. And my prayer is that I have done the best that I could. And I just tell him, thank you. Thank you.
Well said. Well, I want to share there are 3 stages, but I also agree with you on one thing, Sharon. When Ryan's dad and I came home from the hospital, there's no manual. And so, I remember coming home with this little baby, and we were in our living room, and I had a song playing about just loving this child, and what great responsibility it was for us to be gifted with God's inheritance. It is an inheritance. And so I took that part seriously. But even before that, looking at what I was going to name this child. And so I was very purposeful, or we were purposeful. And Ryan kind of touched me because I looked it up, and it was, strong, lion, that kind of thing. And I wanted a child who would, whether they were male or female, that would be strong, would be able to be steadfast. And so I think Ryan has proven that. And there was a time when Ryan was in junior high. I put him in a school, and I had someone that was telling me what she thought about my son, the administrator. And I told her, I said, well, let's not go there, because you cannot determine my child's destiny. You're not in charge of him. God is. And so I made it a point of being protective of him so that he enters his own destiny. And Ryan has done that. He's done that academically, he's done it athletically, but more importantly, he's done it academically. Ryan is one to reinvent. He's very ambitious, and he's like a lion. He will kind of roar, but inside of that, he has a very good heart, and he's very strong in his faith. I was so impressed with him reading to his daughter right now, his infant baby. And he wanted to make sure that the word is imparted to her early on. So I'm very proud of the man he has become. I'm very proud of you, Ryan, for allowing me to be your mom. And even though we had to kind of shape some things away, you turned out pretty good. He can cook, he can clean really, really well. And he is quite, I think he's moving beyond our wildest expectations of him. And so I'm just really happy. Proud mom.
You guys are certainly making this an emotional episode, trying to hold back tears. But we wanted to highlight you, the queens that both of you are, the moves that you have made, both um, on the front end and on the back end that people don't realize that have to be made as a mother. We're in challenging times between COVID and the pandemic, as and the reality of it is, and we'll be unbothered by saying it, being a young Black male, there's challenges that you have to take, that you have to overcome and get beyond and get past, and you have to be smart on how you navigate these waters. So you guys have done the, my mom talked earlier about at the end of your letter, when you meet our Creator, what you want to hear is job well done, my good and faithful servant, right? And we certainly are not rushing you guys along, but you've done a phenomenal job of raising two grown men, right? Two grown adults. What is your advice to younger mothers now looking back?
I'll let you take that start.
Okay. Well, as a young mother, I would say to them to love. I mean, motherhood is something that it's an absolute, it's a mystery as well as a phenomenal adventure. And so to enjoy it, to love your child, and loving doesn't always mean give them everything they want, but you have to love within your heart, and you can pour into them something that you want them to have that is intangible. And so you give them the best of yourselves if you can, and just love them with all your heart. Love them as God loves them. Um, Guide them, direct them, give them the structure they need. And particularly in this day and age, we need to leave them with, I always tell my children, it's kind of their heritage. Remember where you came from. You are a Caffey. That means something. We have a history and something to be very proud of. So I wanted to leave them with something with which they could say, I am somebody. And so I would just encourage young mothers to take it one day at a time. Don't believe everything you see on social media, but enjoy the in front of you to take care of this child and help them to, steer the way so that they can be productive and successful in their lives to come.
I agree with everything you just said, and just to add on to that, don't get in the rat race. Slow down. Your children are important. Let the race outside the door, let it continue. You slow down enough to give them the quality and attention that they need. There's no rush to do everything. Just take your time, love them, listen to them, guide them, and instruct them, and just be the mother that you need to be to them. And they will, in turn, bring you back reward with the way they live their lives and the decisions that they make.
I'd like to add one thing if I could. Along those veins that Ms. Mosley talked about, giving your child your 100% attention is key. And right now, we're children being online learning at home, and we've had parents to say, "Well, I'm not a teacher. I cannot do this." Yes, you can. You're your child's first teacher. So even if you don't know the lessons that they're learning, them to go online if they have that technology, but to pick up somebody's book. If they don't have technology, do something. And, the Surgeon General, or no, Ben Carson, who is the HUD, his mother did not know how to read, but she made sure every single day he was reading, he was doing his homework in front of her, and she acted as if she knew what she was doing. But I said all that to say that we have the power to affect the future being mothers. We don't have to read, we don't have to be a chemist, we don't have to be a mathematician. We have the power within ourselves to impart values within our children for the next generation.
You hit the nail on the head, Mrs. Caffey.
So we've got a young mother in terms of being a mother for a shorter period of time. My wife, beautiful wife, as you can see, Miss Harper Lake has finally decided to turn in a little bit. I want to give you guys a couple of shots at her to give her some wisdom or ask questions or what have you.
Well, Heather, I know that being a mom, first-time mom, has been an awesome experience for you. A lot of times we don't think that we can do something until you can do it, until you can. And so you've got it within you. I think God has programmed us. It's in your DNA, whether you knew it was there or not. And so you have everything that you need to nurture this baby, to help her to grow. And so you can toss out all the books that you read, because at the end of the day, pardon the cliche, it's about you knowing your child, and you already have begun to know who she is. And so continue to do that and provide her with all kinds of experiences that you desire for her. And keep in mind, everything that you desire for her, she may not desire for herself, but lead her in the path that she needs to go, and she'll do fine. You got it. You have got it. And you've been a great mom. You really have been. You're a great mom.
Yeah, I want to chime in real quick on this Mother's Day. I do want to tell my wife that I'm incredibly impressed and blessed to see the growth, the maturation of, because this wasn't something that was planned, right?
Right.
But
I don't want to say that, but yeah.
We're all about being real and being honest, right? But I have watched my wife walk into motherhood and kick the door open and own it. Um, and I'll be honest. I mean, we talk about this all the time. Like, not that it's surprising, but to see someone become something that they weren't planning on being has been an absolute amazing experience to watch her. I think you're an incredible mother. I love everything that she does for Harper, and I look forward to the things that she will be doing, from establishing a cadence of her life, um, being the example and the role model that she is. It's been not only a treat thus far in the first 8 months, but to see what's going to happen before. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, you better not mess with my little bit, because this mama bear is something serious.
All true. Thank you all so much.
I'll jump in. My wife and baby woke up from nap just before the recording, so that's why they're not on. But I have an 18-month-old who, as Cuff knows, before we hopped on the phone, destroyed my man cave that I'm recording in before we actually started this call. But my wife has been above and beyond the Call of Duty. I guess it's probably the best way to put it. We asked for Zuri. Zuri has been everything we could absolutely dream for and then some. And I told her the other morning when she was doing Zuri's hair before we went to daycare, because I'm a man. I have no idea how to do a woman's hair. But I told him, like, motherhood looks good on her. Like, it fits. Like, she has taken everything like a fish to water. Nothing is out of the realm of possibility in regards to what she can do. She puts her mind to something when it comes to Zuri, she does it, or she makes it happen, or she figures out a way, whatever it might be. She has just been amazing to watch. I mean, my wife has 10 or 11 nieces and nephews, I think, altogether. It's a lot of them. So she's had plenty of practice with little people to begin with, but to watch her have her own and to really do her thing. And Zuri is addicted to her mom, which I'm so happy. When I found out that we were having a girl, the first thing I thought about was that my daughter, I know for a fact, has another woman in this world who she will be able to truly depend on no matter what happens in life. And I think just as a parent, whether it's a boy or a girl, you want to know that your partner is going to be every bit as dependable as you when it comes to your child. And we're sitting here with our moms. We know for a fact that we can depend on our moms no matter what. And just the thought that in the event that one day I'm not here, I know Zuri's got somebody who's going to be in her corner every bit as much as I am. So I will speak my piece on that. As we get ready to kind of land the plane, if you will, and this is for both moms, because this is the Vision Lab. What do both of you envision or see happening with your two sons over the next 5 years?
Well, I'm going to be short because I know we're trying to land. Vision for Ryan as well as for my other son, all three of my children, but my two boys
shout out to Drew.
Shout out to Drew. Is that I want them to soar, continue to soar, continue. Life is a journey. And so continue to be in the journey, on the journey, the adventure, and the opportunities. Life is filled with opportunities and obstacles, but the greatest thing is to overcome your obstacles by taking hold of the opportunities. So that's my hope for you, that you continue to grow, not be stagnant, and take care of your families, continue to be the righteous men, faithful men that you are.
Amen.
Disregard that phone. On the same vein that you just said, just keep doing what you're doing, reaching for the stars. Marcus is reaching far beyond I expected, and I'm so pleased with that. Ryan has done great things. He tells me all the time, you keep saying you're proud of me, Mom. I am. I am truly proud of him and Marcus. And wherever you want to place your feet, you just keep walking in the path that you know you need to walk, and you'll get there.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Well, couple of things before we finally hit the ground on with the plane, and that is, we want to tell y'all, hey, we love you, we adore you, we care for each and every one of you. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for all you have done and all you continue to do and all the things that you guys will do. We are forever indebted to you, and we're just very grateful for you. My final question as we land the plane on the podcast, we ask this to every single guest. My wife, you're going to be excluded from this because you've been on this once before. But to Dr. Deb, Mrs. Mosley, we're going to pose this question to you, okay? In case you didn't know, we have a time machine here in the Vision Lab podcast. We're going to go back 5 years ago. As a mother, I'm going to pose this to Mrs. Mosley first. As a mother, what advice would you give yourself? You know what? I'm going to rephrase that. You can go back to the beginning of being a mother. Is that fair, Mo?
Sure.
Okay, let's do that. So as a mother, what advice would you have given yourself from day one of being a mom?
Day one.
You just brought Ryan home. You're by yourself. What advice are you telling yourself from back then?
Sharon, listen to your mother. She will guide you along the way. Listen to the advice and listen to your heart. Look at what you have been given. There's no way to mishandle this bundle of joy. Just take your time and enjoy the ride.
I like it. Mom, we're going to go back 38 years ago.
I can
Day
do that.
one.
I can
Day
do
one.
that. I can do that. And what I'd say to myself, how blessed you are, because I wasn't supposed to be able to have children. And so I would say to myself, this is an incredible miracle, and take it and run with it and be the best you can. I look back over my own mother, who was a phenomenal woman. My mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, I had a legacy of women who took care of each other. And so and took care of our children, the children. So 38 years ago, I would have said, you are incredibly blessed with this miracle. And so God's got this, and he's going to take care of you. He wouldn't give you more than you could bear. So that was what I would say to myself as a young mother.
All right. Well, I want to say that, from Doe to you've gone beyond carrying the torch. So you've done your job for sure. We're going to fast forward the clock 5 years from now. Okay. What advice would the older version of Dr. Deb, what advice would she be giving you today?
Oh, wow. 5 years from now, I'm looking at my age, and this year you're talking about 2026.
Yeah, you'll be 25 years old.
Yeah. Advice is nothing new is under the sun, really nothing. So just keep God first. And I don't mean as a cliche. A lot of times we say keep God first, but nothing is new under the sun, and it's just to reinvent yourself, stay in it, don't give up. We're in Corona now. Who knew 2 years ago or even last year that we'd be halted? But we're going to come out of it. So keep a positive attitude. 5 years from now, the world is still, God is still in control.
Beautiful. Mrs. Mosley, what say you?
Ooh, 5 years from now. That's what I am now.
You'll be 26.
Continue to thank the Lord for every morning I wake up and I am clothed in my right mind.
In my right mind.
In my right
In my
mind.
right mind. My grandfather would say that all the time, and I didn't understand it as a child, but I get it now. And continue to enjoy each day that I have, not get in a rush. There's no rush for anything. And enjoy my children, my grandchildren, my sisters, my brothers. Just love people and sit back and get that love in return. Because there is nothing new under the sun. Everything that's going on now, it happened before.
Mm-hmm.
If you just read, you'll find out. So this that's going on, it's not new. It happened before. And God was there then, and he's here now.
Amen.
So as long as you keep that in your pocket, you don't ever have to worry about running out of change.
Absolutely love that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all visionaries, both near and far, we certainly appreciate you guys allowing us the opportunity to really peel back the curtain way farther than I think you would have imagined, right? You guys get the opportunity to see and hear from the women, the mothers that are responsible for the Vision Lab being even in existence. And so we certainly thank you guys for tuning in. To our mothers, thank you very much for your time, your devotion. And time is such a funny word, right? Like your time from being on this podcast, but your time for devoting your effort and energies into us. We love you. We're grateful for you. To all of our visionaries that are still tuning in and listening, each one of our guests on this journey of life provide nuggets of wisdom. It's up to you to pick up those nuggets and apply them as needed.
I want to say again, to piggyback on your point, Cuff, thank you to everybody listening. Thank you to both moms for taking the time out of your Saturdays to hop on with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Caffey. The voices you have been hearing are one Dr. Deborah Caffey and Sharon Mosley, and we will see you guys next week on another episode of the Vision Lab podcast.
Blessings.